Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that we are talking about some new light in the sky, because the title of this show is Unlock Your Heart. And the reason why we can be talking about unlocking your heart today is because there is a fabulous new moon tomorrow at 22 degrees of Leo. And Leo does rule the heart as well as the back, and it also rules the blood supply, and it rules a lot of other wonderful fun things, such as sports and glamour and entertainment, and it rules love affairs, not marriage, just love affairs, and children as well. It certainly rules summer fun, and Leos like to laugh. They are very good-humored. So Leo rules expansion or extravagance or generosity. And that is why right now, with 4 wonderful planets in Leo being trined by another planet in a fire sign, so there are actually 5 planets in fire signs right now, this would be a good time for you to think about unlocking your heart. And the reason why is that, love can't get in unless you do. And that means in order to receive love, you have to also be willing to give it. And for that reason, you've got to unlock your heart. The kind of love I'm talking about could be love for a project of yours, or a goal, or a dream, or a person, or a child. Or it could simply be love for your fellow man, or love of something that needs doing. And that's just fine. But you do need to unlock your heart first and not be afraid of love. And that is because you can't get it or give it unless you're open to that. And that's why I'm talking about unlocking your heart today. It perhaps is not going to be quite as easy as it sounds. And the reason why is that there are 4 retrograde planets right now. Uranus is retrograde in Aries, Neptune is retrograde in Pisces, Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn, and Venus itself, the planet of love, is retrograde in Leo. So tomorrow, the sun and the moon will be at 22 degrees of Leo, and Venus is at 23 degrees of Leo. It's very close in there with the lights, but it's going backwards. And Mars has just entered the sign of Leo as well. All 4 of those planets are being beautifully trined by the other love planet, Uranus, which is in Aries. Uranus too is retrograde. Since both of the love planets are going backward, this may be a time when you want to reassess your relationships. And if you're thinking about falling in love, I'm sure that you probably want to make sure that it's with somebody that deserves your love as well. So you can be rethinking things, and if you're in a relationship and it isn't everything that you thought it would be, this is a good time to reassess that as well, sort of make sure you're on the right track. And the reason why you need to be careful about that is because those 4 planets in Leo are all being squared by Saturn in Scorpio. Mars is one malefic planet and Saturn is the other. But Saturn is in Scorpio, a fixed financial sign, so there can be some financial problems creeping up. One of them could be due to health problems. When Mars is in Leo, there can be increased danger of heart attacks or back problems or problems with your blood supply in one way or another. So you have to be very careful about that. This is not a good time to take a gamble with anything, and particularly not with your life. So you should be very careful about who you're spending your time with and what you're doing with them as well. Because if there are some financial problems, they could cause a lot of trouble right now. In other words, if you have overdue bills or back taxes that need paying, that could create quite a bit of trouble since Mars is already in Leo as well. But there are 3 wonderful planets under tomorrow's new moon that are all together, and that's the Sun, Moon, and Venus. So this is a time when if you unlock your heart and you at least open yourself to a love, even if it's just love of something you want to do or you've dreamed about doing, that would be really good for you. And that could really help you advance or even make a new beginning, which would be great since Uranus is in the sign of new beginnings, Aries. There are 2 planets that have left Leo already, and now they have gone forward and they are in the sign of Virgo. One of them is Jupiter, that planet of benevolence and goodness, and it will be in Virgo for a whole year. And Mercury has now gone into Virgo, and it is the ruler of the sign. It's very strong there. Virgo rules the traditional 6th house of employment and your relations with your co-workers, and it also rules service to others. So it rules occupations like nursing and teaching and people who are public servants as well. It also rules diet and nutrition, and it rules accounting, and it rules your whole health, and it rules the whole healthcare system, not only your physical health, but your mental health as well, since Virgo is a mental sign. It rules analysis. So Virgos are very good problem solvers because they like to get down to the nitty-gritty details or the fine print on anything. And that's good because that's how you do solve problems. So with the Jupiter and Mercury in Virgo trining Pluto in Capricorn, there is now an emphasis more on practical reality. And it is when the earth signs become stronger that we do have the ability to solve our problems, and they're generally problems that are realistic problems. In other words, not hopes and dreams, but really, how do you achieve those hopes and dreams? How do you sort of get over some hurdles? So this is a good time for those 2 planets to be in Virgo, particularly since they trine Pluto in Capricorn, because that means that management probably could give you a green light on something if you were not afraid to unlock your heart and really put forth a modest proposal or something that could be done in a very efficient way. I think management would be quite willing to listen to that. And if there are policy reversals or management changes right now, they could benefit you, which would be great. They may even help you make better investments. So this is a time when you really need to quit kidding yourself. And it's a good time to do that because Neptune in Pisces is opposing Jupiter and Mercury in Virgo. And that means that you can't just keep wishing that a dream would come true. You've got to look at the facts and the details and get down to rolling up your sleeves and making it come true. But if you unlock your heart, and if that dream is something you really love, then I think you should try to go forward with it. Even if you can only take one small step at a time, you'd sure be going in the right direction. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think this idea of unlocking your heart is music to your ears. And that is because there probably is something that you'd like to go back to that you really like better than what you're doing now. And the reason why I suggest you go back to it is because Uranus is retrograde in your sign, and it's trining the new moon, Venus and Mars, your own ruler in Leo. And Venus is retrograde as well. So there is the possibility that if you return to something that you prefer doing a whole lot more than what you're doing now, and it could even be something like a first love, you would actually be on the right track, Aries. So I encourage you to do that because you could be much happier, and happiness is what it's all about right now. So unlock your heart, Aries, and give yourself a chance maybe to turn something around so that you can be free to go after something you really want to do. Because there is the possibility that you could do it as long as you sort of get away from wishing or thinking about it and look at what problems are involved and take some small steps to solve those problems. I think you could really do it, and you would have a lot of help from people. Mars, your own ruler, has been squaring your sun from Cancer for months, but it isn't doing that anymore. Now it's trining your sun. So I think you've got a green light to go back to something that you'd really love to do, or go back to someone you'd really love to be with, and maybe just start over. But there's nothing wrong with that, Aries. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, remember I said gamblers and speculators beware, because we can't afford to take a gamble, not with our money and also not with our health right now. And that is doubly true for you, Taurus. And the reason why is that the sun, new moon, Venus, your own ruler, and Mars are all in Leo, forcefully squaring your sun, and Saturn in Scorpio is opposing your sun. That makes 5 planets in the fixed signs that are causing problems or blockages in one way or another. And that's why everyone has to unlock their heart a little bit and be willing to go forward in perhaps a new way in order to solve problems. But no one can afford to go overboard. And so if you're feeling like being extravagant in any way or speculating on anything or taking a chance with your health right now, I urge you not to do that, Taurus, because it's really going to backfire and it may put you in the hospital and cost you a lot more than it is worth. This is also a time when insurance rates can really be going up. And so, but when I say unlock your heart, what I mean is try to be with people that you sincerely appreciate, or try to do things that are going to make you a better person. And that is certainly possible, Taurus, because now Jupiter and Mercury in Virgo are trining your sun, and so is Pluto in Capricorn. If you concentrated on work and on improving your health right now and getting serious about that, you would really be able to unlock your heart and expand your horizons in a lot of different ways that could be very beneficial to you, Taurus. So it doesn't mean you have to go overboard with anybody else. This is a time when you need to be good to yourself, both in the long run and in the short run, simply by improving either your attitude or your physical health. It'll just make a new person of you, and that would be great. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, once again, there are no planets in the air signs at all. So perhaps you cannot be seen in all your glory right now, Gemini, or perhaps not a lot of people are listening, but some are. And you too could unlock your heart and be open to new ideas from people who are just acquaintances or neighbors or pals and buddies. And that is because tomorrow that new moon in Leo, along with Mars, the Sun, and Venus, are all sextiling your sun. And the other love planet, Uranus in Aries, is also sextiling your sun. So you have some good planets around your sun sign, and that's wonderful because it means that it gives you the mobility to sort of shift your positions or to try different things in an easy way right now. So you could try on one thing. If you don't like that, you could try on another and make friends in a casual way, which is what you're very good at. So you could concentrate on that, Gemini. And the reason why that would be the easy thing for you to do right now is because it could be a little bit harder now for you to face facts or come up with details. And that's because Jupiter and Mercury in Virgo are squaring your sun, and Neptune in Pisces is also squaring your sun. So there are 3 planets in mutable signs that are in somewhat harsh aspect to the other mutable signs. And so if somebody's asking you to come up with facts and details, that is something you're going to have to work at. But if you just sort of want to spread good cheer around, this is an ideal time to do it. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, I am happy to say, since Mars has finally moved out of your sun sign, that the pressure is off. And yes, you can unlock your heart as well. You may have been sort of playing defense for a long time because there have been as many as 4 or even more planets in cardinal signs squaring and opposing each other. Well, now there are only 2. So you still have to be a little wary of things coming at you quite suddenly because Uranus in Aries is squaring your sun, but there's nothing in your sun sign. And also Pluto in Capricorn is still opposing your sun sign, which it will be doing for years. So you may not like the policy reversals or the management changes that are occurring, but believe me, I wouldn't lose any sleep over that, Cancer, because there's nothing you can do about it. And if things happen in a rather surprising way, yes, they can knock you off balance for a while. But actually, the planets have shifted in a way that is beneficial to you, Cancer. And that is because Saturn is still trining your sun in Scorpio, Neptune is still trining your sun in Pisces, but ahead of your sun sign are those 4 planets in Leo under tomorrow's new moon. And that simply means that you could be sort of energized right now since the pressure is off you. Mars isn't in your sign. And you can settle down a little bit and think about unlocking your heart and going in a new direction or going back to something that you had done before. Remember, both love planets are retrograde, but they are trining each other. And so I think that this is a time when you can be involved with children's interests or with somebody that you're very fond of, or you may be deciding to move and go to a different location. And that is something you could be very busy with, but this is an excellent time to do that if that's on your mind. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, you may have had a year of expansion the whole time that Jupiter was in your sun sign, but it has moved on now, but it's right in front of your sun sign instead in Virgo, along with Mercury there, which means you can be thinking in a way that can help you solve your problems in a very analytical way, and you might be paring down your extravagant desires or your generosity to something that fits a little bit more in a reduced budget, and that is just fine for you, Leo. You do like to be the life of the party, and you do like to be a leader, but everything costs money. And right now you can be risking either your budget or your life if you are not careful about who you're associating with and whether they deserve your generosity or whether people can be a little bit envious of you or even jealous of you. That's what Mars means when it comes into a person's sign. So you need to really keep your emotions under control right now, and you may be re-examining a love affair or children's interests or something that you really like to do, and you can be sort of sorting out what it is you like about it and what it is you're sort of tired of right now. And that would be good. Since Venus is retrograde, it is a good time to go back and review things that you are fond of or people that you're fond of and ask yourself if you're still fond of them. You may not be. Your feelings might have changed. But with Mars in your sign now, it simply means that if you overdo in any way or you get into any kind of stressful situation, it could harm your heart, your back, or your blood supply. So you do need to be very, very careful right now, not only of who you associate with, but what you do with them, and sort of guard yourself or restrain yourself if you can. Leos are very generous people, but not everyone deserves your generosity, Leo. So I would try to spread good cheer around. That you can certainly do. But I would be real careful with the money since Saturn is squaring your sun sign right now. And with both love planets retrograde, it indicates that you might be a little tired of something you're doing or somebody that you're with, and you may decide to go back to something that you love even more. And that would be unlocking your heart and opening yourself up to a new way of looking at things, and it would do you a world of good, Leo. This is a wonderful new moon for you, as long as you don't go overboard in any way. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, it's wonderful that Jupiter and Mercury, those two planets, have come into your sun sign now because they are being trined by Pluto in Capricorn. And that simply means that for the rest of the year, and in fact for a whole year, Jupiter doesn't leave your sign until next summer, that your life is going to expand. There may be more money for you this year, and that will be because people decide to give you more responsibility, Virgo, since they know that you're very bankable and reliable. Remember, your sign does rule service to others, so that's what you like to do. However, even with more money, you're going to earn every penny of that, Virgo, because with extra responsibility, you're going to have to be very good at time management, because it doesn't mean you'll be giving up anything. It means you'll be adding more to your workload or to the people or things that you give service to. So you will be earning all of your accolades this year, but I'm happy to say I think they are coming your way. As the world turns now to more practical necessities, and if you come up with a modest proposal, I think it will go over very well with management, and yet it may not culminate in something concrete until Pluto goes direct. It's retrograde in Capricorn right now, so that could take a while, but that's all right. You're a person that does not want to miss any details, and so if you have to take a little longer to set something up, that just means it's going to work a lot better when it gets underway. So congratulations. And that new moon right behind your sun sign indicates that there's an awful lot of light in the background of your life, Virgo. People can see how popular you are, and they can see that you're active in a lot of different things. So if you wanted to unlock your heart, that would be just fine, as long as somebody is really worth it. That's what you need to be careful about. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, remember there aren't any planets in the air signs, but the new moon tomorrow in Leo, with all 4 planets in Leo, does sextile your sun, which is wonderful. Saturn is ahead of your sun sign, and Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your sun sign. So people who are strong in cardinal signs are sort of not out of the woods yet, but there is far less pressure on you now, Libra, than there used to be, which is wonderful. You can still be susceptible to sudden changes or people suddenly leaving or rebelling, and that's because Uranus in Aries is opposing your sun sign, but it's very well fortified by the 4 planets under tomorrow's new moon in Leo, so it shouldn't be giving you too much trouble. And Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your sun, meaning that changes in policy or changes in management are not in your control, and you more or less are going to have to sort of ride those changes out right now and accept them. But you too could unlock your heart right now, because it's your ruler, Libra, which is Venus, which is conjuncting the sun and new moon tomorrow. That is wonderful. So you may be thinking of going back to a former love, or you may be thinking about changing how you do something in order to spend more time with the people that you really love. Or you may be deciding that you want to get some extra training to qualify you to do something that you used to do that you really like, and maybe you just need to update your skills. So that will be just fine, Libra. This is a very advantageous new moon for you, because it means it could be sort of easy for you to unlock your heart right now. And of course, since your sign is ruled by the love planet, I think you'd really go along with changes that bring happiness and peace and some sort of compromise. And I think that that is certainly available to you now, Libra. So the pressure should be off you. And so I think you're going to enjoy this week. All right, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, the new moon in Leo tomorrow is squaring your sun sign, and there are 4 planets in Leo. The sun, moon, Mars, your own ruler, and Venus are all squaring Saturn in your sun sign. And Saturn is at 28 degrees, and the sun, moon, and Venus are right there at 22 and 23 degrees. It's an almost exact square. And so there is the possibility that you can be unhappy about some sort of financial affair. It could be money that is owed to you, not that you owe, but that other people owe you, or that is supposed to come your way, but it's been delayed for a long time. Maybe that can turn around, or maybe it can be that you're not in a frivolous mood or in a generous mood right now, because you may want to make a dream come true. Saturn in your sign is trining Neptune in Pisces, which rules dreams. And so it might be you that is deciding to unlock your heart and go for a dream. But at the same time, since Venus is retrograde and squaring your sun sign, there is the possibility of a betrayal, either from someone else, or it could be by you, Scorpio. It may be that you realize you have to give up someone or something in order to achieve a dream, and you may be deciding to sort of go back to what you're more comfortable with. And that's a pretty good idea, Scorpio. I think that you can afford something as long as you are very careful with the details or the budget. And I think you will be, since Jupiter and Mercury in Virgo are sextiling your sun right now. That can improve your health and your bank book. But you might have to cut out something else in order to unlock your heart and really go for what is your first choice or your true love. But I think that this is a very good time to do that. And maybe it's time you quit kidding yourself about what really makes you happy and just go for that. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, it is just all systems go for you, I'm happy to say. And that's because there are 5 planets in the fire signs. Under tomorrow's new moon in Leo, Mars, the sun, moon, and Venus are trining your sun, and Uranus in Aries, the other love planet, is also trining your sun. So that's why I think it's all systems go for you, Sagittarius. And that simply means, yes, you're going to be able to unlock your heart, and I think someone else is going to unlock their heart as well. So something can get a lot easier for you. You could decide to travel because you love to do that, but it can also be that a past opportunity that had you had missed may come back to you, which would be good. It's just that you can't ignore bills behind the scenes that need to be paid. But I think you're going to get an awful lot of enthusiastic help, and you're going to be able to enjoy the good company of other people right now. And that is what can make you very happy, Sagittarius. So I think you're going to have a real good week. Congratulations. All right, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is simply a time when, with that new moon being 150 degrees away from your sun or in conjunct, that it may not affect you quite as much as it would be if it were a little closer to your sun sign. So the really good news is that Jupiter and Mercury have now come into Virgo, and they are trining your sun where you have Pluto. And that makes an additional emphasis on practical matters or realistic attitudes about problem solving. And that simply means that I think you're going to be able to move forward now. And that is because there can be people around you now that are more your type and are able to concentrate on details and to make plans that, even if they take a while to achieve, can achieve long-term security. Or even with a modest proposal coming your way, you could achieve something perhaps by the time Pluto goes direct later on in the year, that can assure a very lucrative deal for you, Capricorn. So it's just one step at a time right now, but I would say that both your health, your physical health, and your mental health can improve because you're determined to improve them. And also, you can just feel better about being around more people that are down to earth and practical right now. It doesn't mean that things are going to happen fast with 4 retrograde planets, but it does mean that there is more support for your ideas right now, Capricorn. So just take it one step at a time, but I think that you will be able to slowly move forward successfully now. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, remember, there are no planets in the air signs right now, and in fact there are 5 planets in the fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign, Aquarius. So I think right now you lose out on something, and that is because the 4 planets under the new moon tomorrow in Leo, Mars, the Sun, Moon, and Venus, are all opposing your sun sign, and Mars is a malefic planet, and that simply means that you too need to watch out for heart, back, or problems with the blood supply right now, and be very careful. But you also need to watch out for people who can be jealous of you that might want to cause you a few problems right now, and that is because that Mars is squaring Saturn in Scorpio, and Saturn in Scorpio is also squaring your sun sign, which means there can be financial problems that are lingering, either because your budget has been trimmed a little bit, or because there can be past due bills or taxes that have to be paid. So that's what I mean by you lose. You don't lose yourself at all, and it is a good time to unlock your heart, but I would say in unlocking your heart, Aquarius, if that's what you want to do, you are going to have to be open to a totally new experience or to going in a totally different direction, because either some other leader is taking over now and doesn't want you around, or it can be that there are financial constraints where you are. In other words, the budget has dried up, and so that's why you need to go in a new direction right now. Okay, so you might have to let go of some things that have become familiar to you, but your sign does rule the future, Aquarius, and so I think you should sort of look at the cup as half full and think of going on to something new right now, or going back to something that you used to do. Since your ruler Uranus is retrograde, that would be a better idea, and starting over is what this year is about. So there's nothing wrong with you starting over, particularly if you go back to a different location that you were happier in. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when I think with some delayed money coming your way, you can make a dream come true. So when I'm urging people to unlock their heart, I'm urging you to do that too, Pisces. But that is for the purpose of really getting down to facts and finding out how to make a dream come true. You can do it, Pisces. Jupiter and Mercury in Virgo are now opposing your sun sign, which means that people are going to say, oh yeah, that's a good idea. What's your plan? And you've got to come up with the plan and the details to support that right now. That isn't necessarily the way you like to work, but it's the way you're going to have to work now and for the whole next year while Jupiter in Virgo is opposing your sun sign, because you'll lose out on a good plan if you don't come up with details and facts and really take small steps to implement it. And that is particularly true when Saturn enters Sagittarius in September and squares your sun while Jupiter is opposing it. So you've got to change the way you work, Pisces, but that's all right, because if that's what it takes to make a dream come true or bring that dream down to earth, then that's what you need to do. And so I wish you the best of luck. All right, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.